Okay, sum up these Coventry people in one word. Okay, Mark Robins.
One word for Mark Robins.
It's always the trickiest part of these interviews.
And
I'll give you 2 or 3.
improved.
Okay.
An improvement.
From the
Certainly.
first time he was here, or from the start of the season, or...
Another word I suppose would be determined.
Yeah.
I think he's shown a lot of determination.
I think he's done all right this season overall.
Yeah. However, I might be a bit harsh, but I think anything under promotion this season is a failure. I think losing in the playoff final this season would be a failure.
Yeah.
I think we've got to get out of this league, and that's not necessarily his fault.
No.
That's
He's
how
had bad
I
luck,
look at
hasn't he, Jones?
Got to look at the players.
Andrew,
Yeah. You've got to got to
time.
look at the players as well. For that, this squad should be good enough to finish in the in the playoffs and beyond, really. But when you look at it, especially when you compare what Accrington have done and stuff.
Yeah. Okay. Gordon Strachan.
Left too late. If you can give me 3.
I can give you that. Yeah.
I think he.
Should he have gone like midway through the relegation season?
No, I think a year or two before that. I think the team he had, we finished 14th with the Keane, Roussel.
Oh yeah,
Chippo,
didn't win an away game that season.
And that's the thing, we finished 14th without winning an away game.
Yeah.
So I'm just thinking, if we'd had somebody that could come in and play to our strengths, both home and away, we would have been looking at probably top 7 or 8 that season. Pushing into Europe, maybe. Season before, FA Cup quarter final, and a couple of seasons before, wasn't it? And FA Cup quarter final and pushing towards Europe until kind of we tailed away. So and I think maybe another manager may have pushed us that bit further. Southampton fans would probably say the same. To be fair, he got to an FA Cup final with them, didn't he? But yeah, I'd say Southampton fans would say something similar. But when it comes to him at Scotland, you can't really read too much into it, because it's
you or I could manage. No, that's Russell Slade.
Oh, hopeless. But not his fault.
Really?
Yeah, I don't blame him for relegation. I think
he's not the only one, but
no.
Part of it.
I mean, let's face it. We could have had a manager of the season competition ourselves last season. Robins would have won it, obviously.
Yeah.
However, he somehow tripped over several buckets and managed to, on his way, and managed to trip us over into a Wembley final, didn't he?
Yeah.
So, I don't know how he managed that, but he did.
So do you blame Mowbray more for last season?
I think the recruitment of Mowbray and Venus wasn't brilliant. It's fair to say Venus, he didn't want to be running the club. He wanted to try, but he didn't want to be running the club. Mowbray, I think, was a bit. I think Mowbray could have done a lot better with his recruitment.
Yeah.
But I genuinely think that although it was only a matter of a few points away, I think we still would have gone down if we would have appointed Robins when Slade started. Yeah. I still think we probably would have gone down.
Probably with that squad last season.
I think the damage had been done, and I don't think there was going to be enough chances to change things in January.
It was horrific last season, wasn't it? Absolutely horrific.
Horrendous.
It's just, you laugh about it now, but at the time, I mean, if you were going to the away games, you must have seen. I mean, I did, so you must have seen. Do you ever wonder why the hell you were doing it when you were bombing up the motorways and going around?
Not really.
No, just
no. Coming out of the grounds, I did sometimes.
Okay.
But yeah, it was just bad, wasn't it?
Especially compared to the season before.
Yeah.
When you'd got, I mean, the next one I've got is, well, one of them down is James Maddison. Sum up in one word, but players like him and Armstrong and Murphy and Lancelot and so many.
Yeah.
Madison, one word.
Talent. Just talent upon talent upon talent. I went to a meeting the other day, about like a forum. Gareth Southgate spoke to him, and he was asking us what we thought of him, and Wilson as well actually. But he said Madison. He said talent kid, and he said he's got it. He really has got it, and he's gonna make it to the top level. There's no doubt about that. He'll be playing in the Premier League for a long time.
Norwich fans know it. They know it's
it's only a matter of time before either they, obviously they're not getting promoted this season, so he will be either in the Premier League next season with probably a top half team, or he'll turn a lower mid-table team into a top half team. I genuinely think he could do that, or he'll stay for one more season, and if not, he'll turn Norwich into a Premier League team.
Yeah. Okay. Chris Coleman.
Overrated.
Oh. Okay.
He's got the charisma. I'll give him that.
The look. Yeah.
He can smile.
Should he have got us promoted? Should he have got us top 6?
100%. 100%. The players that came in later on, Jordan Henderson. People like that. Scott Dan Fox, Gunnarsson.
Yeah.
Westwood.
Good team.
Leon Best. It's just player after player after player after player after player, and you look at it and think, how did we not get promoted there? And Clinton Morrison,
Yeah, we had a really good
if you
team.
wanted a player to play for you up front in the Championship at that point, Clinton Morrison, I think he was free transfer.
Attitude and
he
no
moaned a lot.
ability.
He moaned a lot,
Yeah,
but
he cared,
the point
didn't he?
was passionate, and you just think, how did we? It's not. Forget about finishing top 6. I think we finished 17th with that team.
And the game against Charlton, where we just needed the draw, and he just couldn't get anything. I mean, I think Sunderland fans are rapidly realising it, aren't they? That
Wales, people will say, "Oh, brilliant! He did wonders with Wales." I think maybe it's a bit of a blip because you look at the last campaign.
Take Bale out, where would he have come?
Well, at the end of the day, their last, the campaign up to this World Cup, you look at it. They had an easier group than us. They've got Gareth Bale and Aaron Ramsey, and you look at that and you think, how did they not even finish second in an easier group than what we had? So, vastly overrated, I think.
Okay, Michael Doyle.
Oh my word! Will children be watching this?
I don't know.
Horrible to play against, but you want him in your team.
Yeah.
You want it. I don't agree with the song about him never giving the ball away, because Doyle generally
25 times a game. Yeah.
Doyle kicks people, yellow card, kicks people, but pretty much comes out with the ball most of the time. Tries to pass it and it goes out of play. Although the best pass I've seen from anybody this season from Doyle at Grimsby, where he hit it with the outside of his foot and it just curved round, and it just went straight into Jody Jones's path. And you just thought, how has he done that?
Who's that playing that pass?
How has he done?
Who's this new player?
I mean, you look at for a lot of people, that might have been one of the first times they saw Doyle play this season. You thought, how did he do? That's not Mickey Doyle. He's 35. Yeah, how's he managed to do that now? But then, for every one of those, there's 9 that go out of play. But you want him in your team in League Two, don't you?
Yeah.
You ask any Portsmouth fan, you want him in their team. Yeah. He's just at this level, he's a winner, and he just doesn't give up. You want him in your team. You don't want to play against him. Doesn't matter how many times he gives the ball away.
His age, his fitness and consistency is pretty,
well,
miraculous, really, I suppose. Dion Dublin.
Unbelievable striker, but better centre half. Forget about how he went.
Yeah, I tried to. I loved
he signed a new contract. I'd like to think that he signed a new contract because he wanted us to get a bit more of the pie when he left, maybe. I don't know. But I think he was hammered for going to Villa, and you know, the actions that he took. But at the end of the day, you look at what he did for us in the Premier League. You look at what he was the best centre half I've seen play for Coventry City, and he's also a modern top scorer. You know, in top flight top scorer, I think.
I'm glad to you, because I did see a debate on Facebook a few months ago. I thought whether he's a club legend or not.
I think he's got
it's
to
not
be,
even up for debate for me.
61, 62 goals in the Premier League.
Just him playing for Villa, leaving for Villa is enough to for a lot of people just to taint that.
That's the problem.
Sort of.
Yeah, same with Boateng, isn't it? So
there were a few who ended up there.
A good number of them, and you know, we've got the lots of Joachim. You know, so yeah.
Okay, one last one of those. We will go with Gary McSheffrey.
I think we should remember. Sorry, this is more than one word, but I think he needs more than one word. Yeah.
Okay.
Too much is remembered about his second spell, and I remember the kid that just, you know, little, you know, 16 years old coming into a Premier League team. I think his debut was the 4-1 at Villa, and you know, and it was only for a couple of minutes at the end, but I'm sure you know,
unforgettable.
You've got but at the end of the day, what he did, and then leaving for that amount of money at that time, you know, you've got to say he's not necessarily a club legend, but the goals he scored in that first spell, that for me, that overshadows everything that he did in the second spell. I still don't think he was that bad in the second
but he
spell.
Hadn't quite retained what he did have.
Yeah. See the others on that list. Darius Henderson.
Oh yeah, I didn't. Tell me about Darius Henderson. You can tell me.
Oh God, we brought in so many past it players that season, didn't we? Like we had Darius Henderson. We had, who else did we have? We had.
Nathan Clark? Was he one?
No, he was last season, wasn't he? But Henderson was the season.
Oh yes,
before,
sorry.
Sorry,
I'm getting, what's his name? Hunt.
Yeah, Stephen Hunt.
Ramage.
Oh God, Ramage. I mean, what was it? 4 games he played for us, and then we realised what mistake we made.
Evaporated.
Oh God, yeah. Nathan Clark though. Nathan Clark and Kevin Foley. If you want a reason why we got relegated,
the final pieces of the puzzle were there, weren't they?
You mentioned Vincelo earlier on. There's a lot of reasons why we got relegated last season.
And that was.
I think one of the key ones was getting rid of Vincelo and bringing in Jordan Turnbull for money. That's the thing. We released Aaron Martin. Aaron Martin was a good standard League One centre half that could do us a job. And I know he didn't play much for Oxford, but we knew what he could do. And you look what he did in the community as well, like donating £1,000 to the local hospital. That's probably more than what he earned in a week. You know, not many people would donate more than what they earn in a week to the local hospital. So it's things like, but looking at it on the pitch, would we have done better with Jordan Turnbull, or would we have done better with Aaron Martin with Roman Vincelo in front of him? Would we have been a better team? Yeah. And at the end of the day, that's what we did, and that's what Mowbray and Venus. What were they doing? And he doesn't fit into the system that we're going to play. You should be building the team around him. Flex going. So he is our best player. He is our best player. You should be building the team around him. It's
last season left scars, didn't it, for all of us a little bit.
And I can't remember whether it was Nathan Clark or Kevin Foley, but when the relegation was confirmed, one of those two was captain. They had the armband on.
And they'd only been there.
And to me, that sums up Coventry City last season. That it was either one of those two that was. And start of this season, Minotti at Grimsby, the assist from Clark. The only time Clark actually passed to a Coventry City player was that.
That was laughable, that one, wasn't it? Okay. What would you rather see? England win the World Cup or Coventry reach the Premier League? Or Coventry reach the Premier League?
Yeah, England win the World Cup.
Wow. Really? Controversial.
Yeah. Do you know what? Some Coventry fans, one bloke in particular that I know through sitting with him at the Rico and stuff, he said, CJ, why'd you go watching England play? You know, you go and watch England play this weekend. You can't go and watch Coventry play because. And I said, it's my country, you know, it's my country. But he said, put it this way, he said, what are you going to back in the Grand National? A unicorn or a donkey? I was like, what do you mean by that? He said, well, the donkeys exist. So Coventry winning the FA Cup or getting into the Premier League, that conceivably exists. England winning the World Cup, that's the unicorn, that don't. Yeah, but they're my country. You know, I support.
But stronger than the club.
Yeah, I know it could be
rarity.
controversial. I love Coventry City. I absolutely adore them, and it takes something to put something. I don't necessarily say I put them above it. At the end of the day, England play in a non-tournament year 10 times a season. Yeah, 2 of the games are in the summer. You know, 2 or 3 of them are going to be during the week when Coventry aren't playing. The chances are I might miss 3 games a season. You know, 3 home or away games a season from watching England. So that's how you got to look at it. It's not that often, really,
no.
Let's be honest.
But you don't go to the home games anyway for Cov, do you?
I don't go. No, I've done a couple of home games this season, but away games I think I'm probably pushing 20 this season so far.
Okay.
So,
is there a sort of I know obviously like ignoring the problems at the Rico and everything. You do that at those away games, and obviously the away games with England and stuff as well. It's a sort of an adventure to it, a bit more of an adventure.
More, yeah. I'd say be able to meet new people, get to be different places. Unfortunately, get to go places, grounds like Cheltenham. You know,
but then you've got. I mean, you've been to World Cups and stuff. Did you go to the last World Cup? Or
no, I went to the last 2 Euros. Yeah. The things you see and the people you meet, cultures you see, it's brilliant. You know, it's second to none really. Following England away is the best thing that you could ever do, really, in terms of sport. It's a fun, you know, it's just a great experience. You can do it pretty cheap as well, to be honest. You know, it's not as much as what some people fear it is. And yeah, it's a welcome. I find it's a welcome break from club football. People don't like, oh great, it's an international break coming up. I see it's a nice break from club football, and you know, and you get the odd bad trip. Like Dublin wasn't particularly good a couple of years ago, and recently the Amsterdam one was all right, but there was just too many idiots around, really.
Were you near that?
We're a bit, yeah. We managed to find one bar in kind of the red light district that wasn't shut, because they shut the whole of the red light district down basically. But there was one bar that wasn't shut. We managed to find that, and people in there were behaving themselves. Dortmund as well last year. Last year. That was pretty bad as well, just because of the behaviour. So it's seeping in slowly but surely, the bad behaviour. But generally, 99% of the people that go to England are just go England away games. The top people, you know, the best people you could ever meet. And like, clubs don't matter in the grand scheme of things, you know. Birmingham, Villa and West Brom, and there's so many, and Leicester, and there's so many people that you know, about rivals or what have you. Wolves as well, club I said earlier I don't like. Yeah, but the fans, some of the fans I've met there, it's brilliant, you know, superb. I spent the Euros with a load of Blues fans and a couple of Leeds fans, and the second week in Nice, the final week in Nice, for the embarrassment against Iceland, it was spent with Leeds and Blues fans on a campsite, you know, and that was good. That's all part of it, really. Getting together and bin your club shirt before you go and just support your country.
So you're going to Russia, obviously.
Yeah.
Are you looking forward to it?
Yeah, I am. Yeah. I'd rather it wasn't there. I think there's too much. I think the bribery is the bribery that supposedly happened, say supposedly, and the for that and the Qatar one, it shouldn't have been there at the end of the day. However, it's there, and we've just got to go and enjoy it really, and have a good few weeks in Russia. I mean, we're here in Coventry at the moment, and we're going to be spending a few days in Volgograd, which will be pretty good really. Volgograd's one of our twin towns. I think it's one of the first examples of that in the world.
Right.
So I'm looking at taking a few bits and pieces over here from the city, from the football club, the cathedral, and the council.
Oh, that's great.
To see if we can bring something back for the relevant those relevant organisations, and just to put to one side and just say, it's. I mean, obviously there's plenty around here from Volgograd, Hiroshima, and wherever, but we want something modern really that we can bring back and.
Great idea.
Yeah.
You worried about safety or?
Again, at this forum I went to the other night, there was somebody from the security forces there that said the black-shirted folk from that terrorised us all in Marseille, they're going to be on a month-long camping holiday in Siberia. So it does seem genuinely upbeat. Obviously, every tournament, you go back to Poland and Ukraine. You're going to get, if you're from an ethnic minority or whatever, if your sexual orientation is wrong, and so on, you're going to get.
They said it about South Africa that people would be robbed on the streets. Brazil
carjacked. None of it ever happened. People in Ukraine, fine, not a problem. Quite a diverse country, really lovely country. It's a shame what's happened to it. France, obviously, not much was said about it, but. It's. I think I'm obviously being vigilant. You've got to be on your toes over there, but I don't think it's going to be anywhere near as bad as what some people say.
And how do you anticipate England doing in that tournament?
I think we'll go out respectfully with an absolute mullering in the quarterfinals. I think at the end of the day, if you look at it, in theory, we've got to play above what's expected once to get through to the last weekend. In theory, because both us and Belgium, let's face it, both of us should win the first two games. Tunisia aren't that bad; they're not as bad as what some are saying, but let's face it, we should beat them. We should beat Panama. So should Belgium. That third game will be a nice. Hopefully open, expansive game where
to determine who finishes top of the group, maybe.
But at the end of the day, so it doesn't really matter what happens in the Belgium game, really. So we don't really have to play well in the groups, to be honest. But then second round we've got Japan or Colombia or Poland. We shouldn't really have to go above and beyond to beat them. And then you've got the quarterfinals, and that's where we've got to play above what's expected. That's where we've got to play really well.
Or learn how to win on penalties.
Yeah. Well, we'll beat the Germans easily on penalties, won't we?
One of these days.
It's going to be Germany, Mexico, or Brazil in there, and that's where we're going to come unstuck, isn't it? So if you think about it, if we play well in that game, we could lose the semi-final. We're still in the third place playoff. So. That's how you got to look at it. That's we could be out there for the whole month by playing well once. And look at what Portugal did. They didn't play well in any of the games. They were just well organised in the Euros, and they won in 90 minutes once, and that was it. They won it. So that's how you got to look at it.
Yeah. Okay. Last question. Bearing in mind that we're talking just before the Stevenage game. There's a few games to go, but will Cov get promoted this season?
I think we'll get in the playoffs, and I don't buy into the playoffs is a lottery, because in a lottery anything can happen. But with a series of football matches, it's quite you win, one team goes through, one team goes out. I don't see how it's any more of a lottery than the actual league season, to be honest. I think we're going to miss out in the playoffs. I thought at the start of the season that we would. I'd never thought automatics. I thought start the season, we'll be in and around the playoffs up until about January, and then the likes of Jones would be found out. But obviously, unfortunately, he got injured.
Yeah.
I think we're going to be looking at. I think we're going to be looking semis in the playoffs probably.
Semis.
Yeah, I think over 2 legs. I just don't think we're going to. I don't think we're going to do it. And as well, it depends. The only team of the top 7, the rest of the top 7 that I wouldn't want to play in any circumstances is Accrington. Accrington, they're not actually that good.
No.
Well, in terms of the players, they're not that talented. They're not that good, so to speak. They don't play brilliant football. And, oh, what brilliant! But they're just well organised.
Yeah, they know what they're doing,
Coleman's got them really well organised, and you just look at it and you think, how good is that team? And
there's a Coleman who's actually performed, opposed to.
Yeah. How good is that team playing, and how well organised are they? And he's just what he's done there is unbelievable. They're the only team I'd rather. But then there's teams I'd rather not play. I'd rather not play Exeter because of the size of the away end. That's the first thing, and also. I think we'd find it a little bit tougher against them than Wycombe. I'd rather see Wycombe.
We've beaten them twice, haven't we?
Yeah, I'd rather see Wycombe come into, drop down. The other day, I think Lincoln. I can't remember how it worked out, but either way, it would have meant that if Lincoln would have won and Exeter would have won, well, I would have rather seen that and us finish 7th and then play Wycombe than finish 5th. Or finish 6th and play Notts County, for example. I'd rather play Wycombe than any other teams. But yeah,
let's hope you're wrong. Let's hope we go up. Yeah.
Yeah, hopefully so. Fingers crossed.
Right then, nice one. Thanks for coming and
no problem.
Thanks for talking to me.
No problem.